there are some detractors that will push back on me and say, the only thing that the mayor talks about is the hiring of black people. No, what I'm saying is when you hire our people, we always look out for everybody else.
Popular downtown Riverwalk concessionaire files a federal discrimination lawsuit against the Brandon Johnson administration and the city of Chicago. Well, he says he was stripped of his business because of his race.
What we do know, what the facts are, is that in the evaluation process, when they were evaluating the two proposals, they were making repeated comments about a preferred race and gender. After I was working it hard, trying to communicate with the mayor's office, trying to communicate with that commissioner's office about what is going on. Why is it taking so long?
A Chicago business owner is accusing Brandon Johnson of changing the rules, ignoring deadlines, and choosing race in a process that's supposed to be neutral. This is a federal lawsuit, and the reason this matters is simple. It goes straight to the mayor, Brandon Johnson's own words.
He was talking about the number of black officials in his administration. Here was the comment that set this all in motion.
The deputy mayor is a black woman. Department of Planning and Development is a black woman. Infrastructure deputy mayor is a black woman. Chief operations officer is a black man. Budget director is a black woman. Senior advisor is a black man. And I'm laying that out because when you ask, how do we ensure that our people get a chance to grow their business? Having people in my administration that will look out for the interest of everyone, and everyone means you have to look out for the interests of black folks.
When Brandon Johnson took office, he openly said that he wanted to prioritize black hiring in his administration. It wasn't vague, it wasn't misquoted, that was the message. Saying a quiet thing out loud. So here's the problem. Running a city isn't just about intentions, it's about process, permits, licenses, deadlines, scoring systems, federal rules. And when a business owner said that the city ignored deadlines, kept decision makers secret, brushed off FOIA requests, and appeared to favor race over hard numbers, that's when intentions collide with the law. In this case, we have to ask one question. Did Chicago follow its own rules or quietly bend them? So we're going to walk through this situation here. There's an interview with the person who is actually suing Brandon Johnson, see exactly what happened, what he went through, and see if he has a case. Let's get into it.
He alleges he lost a permit to operate his business on the Riverwalk because of his race. Now, the Beat Kitchen had its permit for 5 years, and the owner alleges in this lawsuit that it was not renewed because of racial discrimination, as internal communications in the city reveal that city officials had sought to steer it, allegedly, to an African-American-owned business. And we're joined now by Beat Kitchen owner Robert Gomez. Robert Gomez, welcome back. Good to see you again. So this lawsuit was just filed alleging discrimination. Tell me why you believe that you were not renewed for this spot on the Riverwalk unlawfully because of your race.
That's a hard one. That's something for the city to answer. What we do know, what the facts are, is that in the evaluation process, when they were evaluating the two proposals, they were making repeated comments about a preferred race and gender. And that's what led us to add that to the lawsuit. But the lawsuit really is about reform and forcing this committee to abide by federal law.
So this is really interesting. What he said, when evaluating the two proposals, they were making repeated comments about a preferred race and gender. Why would they be doing that? I mean, that's just pretty stupid. By doing that, you're already going to start having legal problems. Preferred race and gender is not a casual situation. It's not casual language here. This is a government licensing process involving public land and public money. And the reason why this business owner probably has a case is because of Brandon Johnson. He has been very open about prioritizing black hiring. And once that mindset flows downhill, it affects how people behave. Instead of asking what the rules say, the courts are not going to grade on that type of thing. They're going to be grading on evidence. If race is being discussed as a scoring factor, that's not equity, that's exposure to this guy winning this damn lawsuit.
That there's a committee in the Department of Fleet and Facility Management made up of city workers, employees, officials that score all the proposals and then award the contract. And you're saying that you got communications that said that they deliberately said they wanted an African-American owned business in there.
There were comments in that evaluation process along those lines, yes. But they also, I mean, there's so much more chew it. There's so much more to unpack. They also were extremely biased in their scoring when they were looking at the two proposals. Adding to that, I was the only applicant to submit a proposal on time. There really was only me to deal with. That was their obligation based on the rules and regulations, was to deal with me and finish that process. They solicited an application from someone else to put a proposal together after the deadline.
Not good. Not good. You know, deadlines are not suggestions. Every small business owner knows that. If deadlines suddenly don't matter, then merit stops mattering too. Chicago has a long history for rules for some and flexibility for others. That's why it's one of the most corrupt places in the country. And remember, Brandon Johnson ran on being different. Remember back in the day before he realized how ineffective he is, he talked about transparency. But for him, I guess transparency was just a slogan. It's born paperwork and saying no, even when saying yes looks good politically.
We are told over and over again, you're 1 minute past that deadline, you will be rejected. And yet they were able to solicit, pull a proposal in, and go through the trouble of scoring it. It was just everything about that is wrong.
And I was reading your lawsuit. Basically, this other restaurant that went in there, it's Hare's, a popular South Side kind of Louisiana Cajun cuisine. They didn't even initially apply to go in the spot that you're in. It sounds like some of these officials had steered them that way?
Yeah, I feel, my guess is that they were, according to the documentation, they were coerced into applying. They just did what they were asked to do. This isn't about Hare's. This is about the committee and the way they feel they can conduct themselves in whatever way they want without having to adhere to any rules.
So they were forced to apply. I would like to see if there was any connections between that restaurant and Mayor Johnson. Mayor Johnson is known to take a kickback or two. He's been exposed already. He loves gifts, luxurious items. So I'm wondering if there's a connection to a point where he knew someone that said, hey, you know what? We'd rather have this restaurant here instead of, I guess, the Beat Kitchen. Come and apply, even though you missed the deadline to even apply for this.
You are getting you had had this permit for 5 years. You had operated 3. 2 of those years was COVID shutdowns. Doesn't the city reserve the right to let out these contracts to who they choose?
Absolutely. So long as they apply in a timely manner and with a full proposal, absolutely. If that were the case, I would not have a case. I wouldn't have a federal case.
And so you're saying you're the only person that applied on time with a full application. And you also said in the suit you had invested a lot of your own money into this spot. And had it been successful? Were there complaints? Were there any other reasons that might give these city officials a reason to pause and not award you the contract again?
Nothing that they ever made me aware of. So absolutely not. We outperformed, we doubled our projections. I mean, it was a great, great operation. If anything, we should have been not only applauded, we should have been heralded as like, this is the type of operator we want more of. That's how I feel about it. And no communication along those lines at all. Maybe they'll try and make that up now, but that's not the case at all.
If anyone actually been to this restaurant, let me know, put in the comments below, restaurant review real quick. When this was around, was it good? Was there any issues there? It don't seem like there's any problems that I've seen. I'm sure City Hall was like he said, is going to come up with something because this doesn't look great. But let me know if you actually ate at this restaurant. Let me know your experience there.
What is it that you want ultimately out of this lawsuit? Do you think you can actually get this spot back?
Our demand is to start the application process over again and to do it according to the law, do it so that there's transparency, and I don't think that will ever come out of 2FM.
2FM is the Fleet and Facility Management Agency.
Correct.
Well, that's the thing, that this process is pretty opaque. Who are these people on the board that score these applications and make the decision?
Well, they keep that very intentionally secret. The intent was so that they can protect them from influencing, but the result is that very few people are able to influence them and get them to do whatever they want, and in total secrecy. They didn't really reveal any information. Any FOIA request went ignored for a year and a half. And
Freedom of information requests. You were
correct.
So that's also a big problem. The one thing about Brandon Johnson, he does not like transparency. So you see right there, that's the core issue. It's a secret committee, anonymous decision makers. You're ignoring the FOIA requests. So that's not public government. That's a private club that only a few people probably get to enjoy. FOIA requests exist so the public can see what's happening. When an administration ignores it, they're basically telling you that they don't want any sunlight over here. Brandon Johnson talks a lot about accountability. Accountability requires names, records, and paper trails. Without that, you don't have accountability.
You were looking for any communication because the last time you talked to me, you told me you didn't hear from them until you had found out someone else had gotten the business.
Correct. They didn't hear from them until after I was working it hard, trying to communicate with the mayor's office, trying to communicate with that commissioner's office about what is going on. Why is it taking so long? I suspected foul play, but what came out of the FOIAs was far more egregious than we could ever imagined. The abuse was unreal of what this committee of 6 did.
And what did it do to your business? I know you own the Beat Kitchen on Belmont, a popular music venue, and Subterranean on North Avenue. How has this impacted your business?
I mean, it's a huge impact. It's a great way to get the brand out there. It's also a way of supporting the other businesses. Live music is struggling. It's been in the news all over and over again with how difficult it's been for music venues ever since COVID. We have not bounced. We're selling tickets, but people are drinking way less. There are alternatives to drinking, and all of that is impacting. The business model is they get the ticket, the bands get the door, and we make money off the bar. And that's
also, we have no money. The economy is crap, so people are going out less. They can't afford to go. I mean, that's a whole different subject for a whole different video, but just going out, people just don't have the money anymore. Everything is way too expensive.
It's really been a struggle, and this would have helped.
And how lucrative was the Riverwalk location? Were you turning a profit?
Absolutely, yes. It was for everyone on the Riverwalk. It is unbelievably lucrative. It's just the foot traffic, even though it's seasonal, the foot traffic is amazing. We were doing $3 million, and it's seasonal in sales. But one of the things I'd love to point out is in terms of the conduct of this committee, is when they scored the 2 proposals. First of all, they shouldn't have been scoring the other proposal. It came in late and it was solicited. They're not allowed to do that. But in scoring them, one of the exams, there's 10 categories, and one of them is compensation to the city. So this is unusual. At the Riverwalk, you have to tell the city what you're willing to pay. And it's rent, it's monthly rent, and then your percentage of sales that you're willing to give up, right? So I spelled that out. My proposal offered over 5 years, $1.4 million. The other proposal offered $52,000. And members of the committee gave them a higher score. 2 members gave them a higher score. 3 of them gave us the same score. How's that possible?
All right. Well, it looks like he's going to win this case. Clearly, someone on that committee was connected to the restaurant that eventually replaced him. This is terrible. So, mind you, Chicago is broke right now, right? Budget hole as big as you can see, right? $1.something billion. And yet the other proposal that only offered $52,000 somehow scored higher. This does not pass the smell test. So Chicago potentially left over $1 million on the table. Residents do have a right to ask why. And when ideology seems to override basic financial logic, it's a reason why people are losing faith in Mayor Johnson. This does not make any sense.
This is not subjective. This is numbers. This is hard numbers that you give a score to. And they felt that was justified. And that's just one example. All other 9 categories are exactly like that. And this isn't about the vendor. They gave an honest answer. They are a much smaller operator.
Right.
This is about the committee and who is overseeing.
But you're saying these rules are set in stone. I mean,
absolutely.
They have specific criteria that the vendors have to follow.
Absolutely. I mean, the proposal, that's why it was the only one. It's a burden to fill these out. I mean, there's a lot being asked of people. So a lot of people are just like, it's not worth the trouble. But how they scored, there's no oversight. There's literally no oversight on this committee. So they can score it however they want. They can do whatever they want. And that's what needs to change. At O'Hare, they can't do that. There is oversight, and there's an appeal process. Park District, Navy Pier, they all have standards that they live up to, and there's oversight. Here, there's none.
All right, well, this federal law.
He's really looking for a redo by the rules. If everything went clean, transparency wouldn't be so scary. And if everything is accurate what this man is saying, most likely he is going to win this lawsuit, and Chicago is going to look embarrassed once again. So after checking out this interview, this is the bottom line for me. This is about rules. Deadlines either matter or they don't. Transparency either exists or it doesn't. If City Hall did anything wrong, opening the books should be easy. Name the committee, release the communications, explain the scoring. Until that happens, this story isn't going anywhere, even though he was ready to give them more money, the city, more money. This is another big L for Mayor Brandon Johnson. What else is new? Every day it seems like there's something else. He is on some Mayor Hainiard level nonsense. Just the buffoonery, the constant making terrible mistakes, the emotional outbursts, the incompetence. He is really trying to outdo himself every single day, and not in a positive way. But let me know what you guys think about this story in the comments below. Do you believe that this man has a case, or you believe that Chicago was correct in not giving him that permit again? Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.